Alright, I'll own it. I messed up. Not just the awkward gap in my uploads, but there was some health stuff. We might talk about that another time. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll upload a video. But something deeper. Oh god. I made a review of Dragon Age the Veilguard, and let's just say I was wearing nostalgia-like armor. I'm not sorry that I made the video. It was a learning curve and my first ever review, and I learnt some stuff from making that video. Especially from Dragon Age fans and BioWare fans that left comments or stuff like that. The video was bad though. What I am sorry for is the opinions I had of the game in that review though. And look, I swear I have written out a whole script for this video, but I'm not very confident in reading a script, but I will try my best for you guys. But I was completely blindsided, like rose-tinted glasses wielded to my face because of how deeply I love Dragon Age and BioWare. And it got me thinking, the more I sat with the game, the more I watched other takes, and the more that dreamy high wore off. And once it did, well, I realised I wasn't looking at a worthy successor in Dragon Age Veilguard. I was looking at an empty shell of a game. And despite Dragon Age 2's issues, I got more enjoyment out of playing Dragon Age 2, and have gotten back into Dragon Age 2 many more times. Veilguard, on the other hand, well, I've tried to go back to it. I start a character and I think this will be it. I will just replay it and I'll have a good time. But then I think about what's coming and I kind of just end up quitting. And I am still only at one full playthrough of Dragon Age the Veilguard. My love for Dragon Age has been a very long time, and it is truly sad that their last few bits of work haven't turned out the way that we hoped. That, us being the fans. For example, Andromeda, Anthem, and now Veilguard. And watching videos about BioWare and reviews about those mentioned games, well, my heart broke for both of the fans of BioWare and BioWare themselves. I knew that if Veilguard wasn't the game of the year type of game we were looking for, this could be disaster for BioWare. And over the years, you have seen many that work for BioWare put their blood, sweat, and tears into what they were making. I think I wanted Veilguard to work out so much that I had these rose-tinted glasses, because the world for me kinda would personally suck without BioWare. But I've had a lot of time resting because of my health, and so that has let me keep up with more news about the company. One video that really got my attention was from a YouTuber called Mr. Hulthen. Sorry if I said that wrong. I'll leave a link below of the video that I watched of theirs, and oh my god, BioWare has been through freaking hell, which, let's not lie, anyone that is a fan of BioWare has kind of been aware of this for some time. And anyone that knows freaking EA understands how much of a money-hungry company they are. Yeah, please go watch that full video I link, because it goes into the article that was written called Inside the Dragon Age Debacle that gutted EA. BioWare Studios. And oof, it makes me hate EA more than I already did. And let's not lie, someone better at videos like this will explain it better. I'm basically just telling my feelings through a YouTube video because it's a good way of expressing myself, and sometimes I am unsure of my feelings. But basically, there's a comment in Mr. Hulthen's video that pretty much sums up quite a bit. Now, I know some people might not feel the exact same way that this commenter does, and like, I personally feel like this statement rings true for me at least. But the comment reads, "It's actually insane how the past 15 years of failure can be traced back to the moment EA bought BioWare. Forced to crunch Emmy 2/3, then forced them onto Frostbite engine," which, they had so much problems with the Frostbite engine, which you can see that in 2, but there was still love in 2. An engine not built for RPGs, forced into live service reboots only for EA to stop the live service push, but for some reason reject a full reboot of Dragon Age after said push. What a terrible 15 years for them. BioWare ain't perfect, as the article mentions, but having so many spanners thrown at you is ridiculous. And I mean, that is true. BioWare isn't a perfect company. It's like a child, you know? Sometimes you know your child's doing something naughty, but you're still gonna love them no matter what. And I still love BioWare. They're not a perfect company, but I do love them, and they have had a lot thrown at them, and I feel like that has contributed to a lot of the issues that we are currently seeing the company have. I guess all we can really do is hope that the future goes better, but it's not looking good. But I'm angry. I'm angry, okay? I'm angry at EA and the world, and yeah. EA. Where do I begin? The destroyer of studios. The monetizer of dreams. Ugh. But, well, we all know EA. You can find many videos over the platform of people already talking about the issues there. I'm pretty sure that's a big long list, you know, it's not just BioWare fans that hate EA. At this point, EA has proven that they know nothing about the genre of RPGs. Stick with sports games, EA. Which even then, how are the sports games going? I don't play those sports games, so maybe the EA sports fans can let me know. Why even have BioWare at this point? Why not sell the BioWare IP to another developer who seemed to understand the assignment better and let BioWare do what BioWare does best and make great RPGs? Granted, I'm not a game developer, I don't produce games, or I don't know if you can even just sell off the IP. I tried to Google it, but it was very confusing, so if anyone, you know, deals with games, maybe you can let me know. Is that a potential thing that could happen? Can EA say that, like, sell the IP and then someone let BioWare do their thing? I don't know. Hopefully that's a thing in the future, but again, EA, I suppose, even if they're making just a little bit of money, EA's probably still gonna want to keep them just for that little bit of money. But it does say in the article that EA lost a fair bit of money while Veilguard came out, so maybe they might go, ooh, not a cash grab, but it is bad enough that there was, hopefully I can find it, and if I do, I'll put it somewhere on the screen, but I remember reading this thing ages ago that EA basically said that single player games are dead, and I personally don't think that. I'm one person, so maybe other people do, but sometimes I prefer single player games to multiplayer. Again, that could just be a me thing, but I prefer single to multi. And granted, sometimes yes, it doesn't have the replayability depending on what certain single player game you're playing, between DLCs, and if you've got a story that has multiple endings, there is replayability there. I would always tend to pick a cozy little single player game over a multiplayer. But again, maybe I'm the odd one out. Look, I'm not a game critic with power over publishers, hell, I'm not even a big YouTuber, so my words kind of mean jack shit. I just have opinions that you might or might not agree with, and I wanted to get those feelings out somehow. I might not even feel the same way in the future, but it's how I feel now. I'm just a girl who grew up in the world of Thetis and wanted to believe we were coming back home again. Veilguard isn't an unplayable game. Let's get that straight. It is a beautiful game. Some of the story made me cry when I was streaming it. Now that I already know that story element, when I go back into it, like seeing Varric die. Spoilers, oh god, I hope you've played it. That's not going to make me cry again. It's done and dusted, and there's nothing really dragging me back to that game. So again, Veilguard isn't an unplayable game at all. But compared to the other three games, it's like trying to relight a bonfire with damp matches. And 2 had more personality and 2 had a lot of issues. But it was still more enjoyable than Veilguard, I personally believe. I'm guessing there's some people out there that would be like, what the Emmy, no. But for me, yeah, I think 2 had a bit more personality even with its jank. The jank kind of made me love it more, to be honest. But there's no jank in Veilguard. There's just the empty shell. All I can hope is that going forward, BioWare can have more control without EA. Or EA can let them take the reins. But this is EA, so at this point, we know that probably won't happen, sadly. But hopefully with the new Mass Effect game coming out, it feels and plays like the original trilogy. And, fingers crossed, not like Andromeda. Or even with the ending of Veilguard hinting at another game, that they are able to reunite the fandom again and bring out a fantastic game that we know BioWare can make. Origins 2 Inquisition. Thankfully though, we do have the old games to fall back with, and I'm probably going to stay that hopeful fan that prays everything going forward will be the best. Because I want to stay positive. Again, I managed to do it for Veilguard. I know the rose-tinted glasses are gone now, but I was able to stay positive. Even after the trailer disaster and... yeah. But, come on. Come on, BioWare, you can do it. Fight back on EA. Fight back! So, I would just like to clarify, because of some of my disabilities, I have atrocious memory. I forget a lot of things, and sometimes, like, I would stream Dragon Age and fans would come in and remind me of stuff, and it was fantastic. But there are still certain things that I can remember from Dragon Age. Like, I can still remember the first time I ever heard Flemeth's voice, and I was like, this old bish is gonna be a badass. I remember the rush of opening the game for the first time, the way Mass Effect let me fall in love and have sex with an alien, and I didn't know I needed that in a game, but boy, oh, did I love it. Love you, Garrus. For me, BioWare didn't just make games. They gave me, and I'm sure other people, a place we could call home. And lately it feels like my home is crumbling. My god, it's a game. Isn't that a bit dramatic? Well, that's just how I feel. It wasn't graphics or mechanics that I loved. It was a whole ass story that I could be in and felt like I was a part of, and sadly that was just lacking in Veilguard. The devs of BioWare, they were overworked, maybe, overmanaged, definitely, and I feel like a big amount of underappreciated by EA. You can feel the bones of something great in Veilguard, but then it drops, like someone trying to write a letter with their hands tied behind their back. It's not gonna go so well. Is that a bit dramatic as well? Very, but that's what I'm here for. Imagine if BioWare had been allowed more time, although we did wait a very long time for Veilguard, but EA wanted other projects. If Veilguard maybe had more control, I feel like it could have been so different, or at least I hope. If EA actually understood storytelling, we could have a renaissance. Instead, we got what we got. But, again, I forget a lot of things, so I guess this is where I can ask you guys, the viewers, what do you think went wrong? Was it too much ambition, or did EA just choke the soul out of BioWare? Tell me if I'm wrong. If you agree, let me know. I know we all have our own opinions, and it's great to hear your voice. Even if you are just a BioWare fan and want someone to talk to you about Mass Effect or Dragon Age or anything BioWare, I would love to hear from you. Just to have more BioWare friends, that'd be amazing. So leave your comments below. But I will leave you with this. Maybe BioWare won't rise again. Maybe Veilguard was the last spark of hope. But if there is one thing that gaming has taught me, that hope is a rebellion, and I am still hoping. Not just for a better game, but for a studio that made me believe to shine again. Well, until next time, YouTube. Hopefully it won't be as long. Yeah, hopefully this was better than my dumbass Veilguard review. I'm not gonna delete it, might as well stay up, you can watch my mistakes. But yeah, leave a like if you want, or don't. I don't freaking care. Just a tiny ass YouTube bot and streamer. But yeah, do what you want. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a blessed night, day, morning, wherever you are in the world. Peace!